Good afternoon, everybody. It's December 28th. Today is Thursday. Hope everybody is well. It's about 1 o'clock, just before the end of market close. NASDAQ went a little bit lower, about 6 points, 0.05% down. But the Dow and the S&P still holding on to very small gains, 0.1% and 0.01% for the Dow and the S&P, respectively. Very, very low volume. Literally, it seems as if everybody's gone home for the rest of the year. To a very, very strong year. Just to give a little bit more context, for just the performance for the year has been so good. It has been absolutely fabulous. Now, what we do not expect is a similar check sometime in the better part of the next year. But you never know. Right now, the market seems very strong. We can expect a little bit of a lower move, maybe by January through March, and then maybe an uptick back again. Hopefully, by the end of the year, from next year, second half should be much better. So, for context, the semiconductor index SMH highest, about 73% up for the year to date. NASDAQ will end up somewhere between 50 and 55% up, almost 54.7% up this year. S&P 500 up 25% this year, and the Dow Jones up 14% this year. To the small cap index, Russell 2000 up about 17% for the year. So very strong numbers overall for the market. That's a good sign. One of the companies that showed up on the radar screen, as you can see, is Guidewire. Now, what Guidewire does is actually software as a service system. So we're going to go through a little bit about what the company does, what the company has been doing so far, and then we'll try and understand from our 5-step process whether this is a good buy for us or not. Guidewire makes software for helping you be able to do partner management. So it's been a company that has been around for quite a bit of time. We're going to go through 5 steps and see what they do. Just do a quick insurance management, partner ecosystem flow. So they're a specialty vertical software as a service company, very similar to nCino, which we saw yesterday, NCINO, and then a couple of others as well, such as VEEV, very vertical specific software as a service solution. So Guidewire is one of them, for a property and casualty insurance company. The company has done overall fairly well for the year. It's getting to a very, very good point right now, at least. If you look at it from a 52-week perspective, it's near its 52-week high. And the stock has been going up and down for a bunch of years. So let's go through our 5-step process. For the year so far, Guidewire has been up about year to date about 75%, so good performance for the year. And for a 5-year performance, about 37% from a 5-year perspective. Still not bad. So we're going to go through our 5-step process, see what we find. We start always with the financials, and we start with the income statement and an annualized basis. The company has gone from about 509 million in 2017, growing at about 20-30%, down to single digits, literally no growth in 2021, and now getting back to almost double-digit growth in 2023 to about $1 billion. So almost doubled it in 8 years, but not quite. So not very strong growth overall in the teens to low 10% range. Good margins at about 50%, and negative margins in the net profit margin. So their net margin actually has been increasingly getting worse. It's gone from 25 million negative. It actually was positive, and then now it's gone to negative 100 million. So this is a little bit of a challenge. I don't know if they're trying to reignite growth, and that may be the reason why. But strong gross margin, about 50%. Let's look at it from a quarterly perspective. They're doing about 200 million for the quarter, up about 6%. So single-digit growth, not terrific. So you expect valuations to be a little bit less. Still doing about 50 to 55% gross margins and about negative 5 to 10% net margins. So overall, not great. Not bad, but definitely not great. Okay, total assets about what, $2 billion, $1 billion of it is in current cash. Total debt manageable for what, 500 million. Cash flow should be positive given, okay, so they have a little bit of a cash flow issue that they are funding with their debt over the last couple of quarters, given that they had positive cash flow in the middle, and then this is a little bit of inconsistent performance overall. It doesn't seem to be, it's directionless, which is not a good sign. From a valuation perspective, for someone growing in single digits, 6% growth, 9 is high. Price to sales ratio. And if you look at it overall, they have 54% gross margins, negative 13% in margins. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this about a 5 or a 6. Not a very good fundamentals story and a picture for Guidewire overall. Okay, so let's clear up all the drawings and go through our 5-step process. Okay, so you look at this overall, This has been a very strong markup phase to, we're all just over a strong markup phase over multiple years, going all the way from 2012 to 2020. 2020 is when it went up, and then took a little bit of a dip in 2020. This was probably during the COVID bound, and then went up again during the COVID boom time frame, post-COVID boom, January 2021, all-time highs near the 135 range, 132 range, and then a stage 4 decline markdown, and then a little bit of a stage 1 accumulation, and this is a stage 2 markup. So on the long-term phase, it's still in a stage 2 markup phase. That's where I would see this is the first trend line, the mega trend line. The overall trend line is still trending up higher. We'll adjust it as we go along. So you will see that there was going to be resistance for it in the 114 range, multiple different in the range. So this could be even in the 110 range, but it's got another 4 points or so at least to get to the point where it's going to get a little bit more choppy. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. And then, of course, there's a lot of resistance that's going to be over in the 129 range, which is near its all-time highs of 135. So those are the two resistance points. If you look at the chart overall from a weekly basis, you have to draw this to be one trend line downwards, and then this to be the other trend line. So overall, still okay. I'm not going to be too concerned. This one seems to be still in a manageable phase. It's going to go up definitely, given that it's close to its 52-week high. But how much more higher? It depends on how much the RSI is, the resistance is, etc. So adjust the channel line a little bit down here to be able to show you what the channel line looks like. Very strong persistent performance. Higher highs, higher lows, mostly higher highs, mostly higher lows. So very, very good move within the channel, behaving very, very consistently. This is not a stock that just jumps up and goes up and to the right for most parts. This is unusual. Look at this. This 7-day, 10-day move green is an unusual move. Most of the times it has done a little bit of this, taken a little bit of a break. So this is probably going to do that again, take a little bit of a break on its move up. So I wouldn't be surprised. The moving averages are all pointing up and to the right. So that's a good sign. This is stretched. RSI is stretched at 75 nearly. The MACD is still good. So there's no divergence here in that sense. This seems a little bit stretched, but as I said, some of these things go on for quite a bit of time. So there's room for it to go definitely from 110 to 114. Not a problem at all. Should it come back down to 103, which is the 20-day moving average? It probably will. Look at the long-term movement of the stock, right? Every time it goes below the 200-day moving average, it seems to bounce back on the trend line itself. And the 100-day moving average is also a good sign for most parts. Seems to have done that. 50-day moving average seems to have done that in the December timeframe, 15th of December. So since the 15th of December, it's moved from 95 to 110. Very strong set of moves, as you can see. Overall, I like Guidewire. 5 out of 10 on a fundamentals basis. From a technical setup basis, it's another 7. It's still likable, but it's not going to give you a ton of moves up. It's going to move to 114 for sure. If you want a very short move here, that would probably be something that would be likely what it's going to do. I would rather wait. If you want a long-term stock, given that it's growing in single digits, I'm not necessarily sure that's something that is a good long-term move. It's not going to be a top 10 holding for me in 2024, but it will still do well as a stock. Steady mover, slow growth, consistent growth. Hopefully they get to the point in the next couple of quarters where they can churn a profit, and then we should be able to see it continue to move within the channel and move to higher highs. Thank you very much for watching. Please comment, let me know if you like Guidewire or if you hold it, if you think the analysis might have been a little bit superficial, but I do appreciate you guys subscribing, and thank you for 1,000 subscribers.